You're welcome back to the show, and the topic we'll be exploring this morning is stopping aggression against children during time of conflicts. We all know that violence or aggression against children is one of the biggest problems affecting families and societies, and it happens around the world. It's not just in Nigeria, it's not just in Africa, but around the world, and that's why we see the need for us to talk about it. And also, this is in commemoration of the day that is being celebrated, that is talking about stopping aggression against children during times of conflict. This celebration normally happens every 4th of June every year. There is need for us to talk about it because seeing what is happening around the globe and in Nigeria now, we see almost everywhere we have conflict, and children are the worst hit with women. But today we are focusing on children. And we also have a guest with us this morning who will help us to explore this topic. We have Kingsley Obi. Kingsley Obi is the state principal, Save and Secure the Child Initiative. Good morning, Kingsley.
Morning. Thank you.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Of course, just like I said earlier, that this discussion is pertinent now in Nigeria with the persistent way of that's violence and crisis that is happening in our society. And we have seen that a lot of children are losing their innocence. A lot of children, most of the people that we even see with guns or we see on the social media are mere minors, and this shouldn't be so. But to start from the very beginning, how we got to this point.
Yeah, we from the simple life our great forebears lived, we have come to be confronted by a complex existence which we brought upon ourselves. How did we get here? When you talk of violence, children experiencing them, you begin to wonder, has it always been like this? Thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago? You can see that it hasn't been this way. Our forebears looked after their children. Here in Igbo land, asina nwa ngora. Those years, every parent or parents are custodians of any child or children around them. But what do we have today? We have a society that is belligerent towards children. And those that abuse children, those that treat children violently are those that those children trust most. Take for instance, there's a case we are handling right now in Save and Secure the Child Initiative. A case of a 60-year-old man defiling a 9-year-old girl. What happened? The girl just went to pick Odala early in the morning, as it want to be in rural villages. But the man grabbed her because the tree is within the man's compound. So the man grabbed her, took her inside his room, gagged her mouth, and had carnal knowledge of her. A 60-year-old man defiling a 9-year-old girl. In yonder years, such a scenario is very rare. But what we have today, we brought this upon us as a result of our unbridled quest for modernization, taking whatever we see on television, taking whatever we see on social media as sacrosanct, without saving them to know which one to take and which one not to take. Because clearly our culture is different from the Western culture. Even over there in the West, they are crying. I have a friend in the US who was telling me some days ago that where can he wants to bring his children to Nigeria to live, that he's tired. So we actually brought this upon us, and we are in the best position to nip it in the bud.
Okay, having said that, just like I said earlier when I was doing the introduction, that a lot of children now, they have lost their innocence.
Yes.
They are seeing what is happening. In fact, they have become premature adults and doing what adults are doing, even doing more than them.
Yes.
Now, do you think that it's because of all they are seeing, all they have been hearing and listening to? In fact, every day on the news we hear about kidnappers, people being kidnapped, we hear about people being killed and all that. Now, should this be the reason why their mindset, some of these children, they now do some of the things they are not supposed to do? When you go to the internet now, you see a whole lot of children, minors, taking alcohol, smoking Indian hemp, and then you even see them trying to practice how to shoot a gun and all that.
Yes, we have a micro culture and we have a global culture. Both the micro and the macro global cultures, they are affecting the psyche of all of us, including our children. You cannot excise, you can't excise these influences from the way we do things, from the way we live, from the way we talk, from the way we dress, from the way we do practically everything. About 1999 or thereabout, 2099, 2000, there was a definite program to Americanize the whole world. These children, they watch TV, they go to the internet, they are exposed to various social media, and they pick these things, seeing them as the way to live, seeing them as the way to dress, seeing them as the way to talk to people, seeing them as the way to their general sexuality. And what do our parents do? Parents of these children do? Most parents are complicit in the way their children are behaving. Most parents. It's unfortunate that we cannot put our foot down on the excesses of our children, which they got from basically social media and television generally.
Now, when you talk about parents being part of what we are facing today, is
Yes.
it that they have failed in their parenting responsibilities?
Yes, we are faced we are surrounded by a sea of failed parents. A sea of failed parents all over the land. Last month or thereabout, we went to the NGO we run. We went to visit for advocacy and outreach at Ado Girls Secondary School on Onitsha.
Okay.
When we got there, we started speaking to the students, SS1, numbering about 600 and something. Now, most of the things we spoke about, they were in agreement. Because we exposed the complicity of their parents. And they were like, so this is how it should be. We treated so many topics: hygiene, basic hygiene of a girl child, sexuality of a girl child. Most of them are the first time they were hearing those things. When we went to capital city, I told them that the best way, the easiest way boys get girls of your age is to tell you that you are beautiful. And I said, and I asked them a question: is being beautiful an achievement? That you are beautiful, is that an achievement? You are beautiful is as a result of your genetic makeup, which you did not contribute anything to. That you should strive to achieve worthwhile goals in life. So the parents of the modern parents that we have today are something else. In fact, I don't know how to qualify them. I don't know why our parents of today are like this. It's unfortunate.
Okay, talking about roles people have to play, we've talked about the parents. Now, what about the government? Now, remember the incident of Chibok girls?
Yes.
And up to now, we've not really known about them being released and all that. Then in the papers this morning, we still saw a story of talking about a baby that is not up to 3 years still in captivity of those people that were kidnapped, the Kaduna Abuja train kidnap saga. Now, does it mean that the government isn't doing much, especially in safeguarding the lives of those children? Because we are still looking at children, that's this the topic, we are still looking at aggression against children during time of conflicts, because this is violence we are talking about.
Obviously, the government is not doing enough. And again, when you compare the government we have in Nigeria with other climes, you begin to see that we in Nigeria have failed to delineate between politics and real governance. Otherwise, why should those Chibok girls still be in captivity? Government is being jumbled with politics. The government should be seen to live above board. The government should be seen to protect lives of every citizen, not just by mere mouthing. The government should be seen to practically provide enough security for her citizens. If a government fails in doing so, the government has failed in its basic function as a government. The government is not doing enough. That is the truth of the matter.
All right, just to let you know that you can actually be part of this conversation this morning. The numbers for you to call will be displayed on the screen. And if you have any contribution towards what we are discussing this morning, you're free to do that. Yeah, because we are really talking about, this is a very passionate topic. We are talking about stopping aggression against children during times of conflict. And we've said a whole lot, the reason why this thing happens, and then the role parents and government have to play to see that we reduce this to the barest minimum. And again, let's look at the poverty level in our land today. We also, when you look around, you notice that we have a lot of young children, out of school children, hawking things on the street, and some of them have even turned to beggars.
Yes.
Now, how do we even arrest that particular situation? Because I will not even ask you the question, how do we get to this point? Because now I don't know who to channel the blame. Is it the parents? Is it the government? Is it the society at large that will blame for this particular act?
Yeah, arresting this situation is, to me, simple. It only needs goodwill of people, goodwill of the government, goodwill of various institutions, like the faith-based institutions, churches, mosques, and even the traditionalists. If we all unite together to fight this menace, we can get something worthwhile out of it. Last year, we paid school fees for about 20 pupils drawn from various schools in Oka South. When you see those pupils, you see poverty. How much is their school fees? Some 1,002, they couldn't pay. Some 1,005, they couldn't pay. So the highest was the ones we paid for at we became 16,500 and 12,500, thereabout. So now, if well-to-do individuals can establish functional foundations. Let's, for example, about 500 of them here in Anambra State alone can establish something like that, backed by the government, doing their own, backed by the churches, doing their own. You can imagine the multiply effect of nipping poverty in the bud.
Okay, so it's what all of us need to do.
All of us, everyone
needs to be on deck for us to arrest the
Yes.
poverty situation that we have in our country today.
Exactly.
Okay, that's quite impressive. Now, let's look at, earlier you talked about a situation you're handling, or you handled in
Yes.
your foundation, talking about a 60-year-old man
Yes.
molesting a 9-year-old
Yes.
child.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the mandate of your foundation. What actually made you to start a foundation like this, and what are the things that you have in mind to do, and what have you been doing, to help secure and save Nigerian child?
We started about 3 years ago. It's an NGO, Save and Secure the Child Initiative, the campaign against child abuse in Nigeria. All of us are volunteers, all members are volunteers. We are united by the passion and compassion to save the Nigerian child from the menace of child abuse. When you tune into radio, TV, social media, everywhere, you are faced with stories of a girl child, of a boy child being defiled, of a madam maltreating a ward living with her. So many stories. And we decided that perhaps we can do something about it. And we came together. Here in Anambra State, we are about 50-something of us. Getting to 3 years now, we've been going to churches, going on outreach, going to schools, talking, preaching, because it's a gospel.
Okay.
That we are.
So let's know his hello. Good morning.
It's not clear.
Good morning. Okay, please, if you want to call us, reduce the volume on your TV set so that we can hear you very well. The number is displayed on your screen. Reduce the volume or move away from where your TV set is located so that when you're talking, we will hear what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay. The first case we handled was a case of a child of 7-year-old defiled by another child, 16-year-old. But we are living in the same compound at Obunago, Oka here. So when this happened, nobody knew about it. The girl did not tell anybody. The father came to know about it when the private part of the girl started developing pus. So that was when the father started asking her. The mother is no more. So that was when she opened up. Now the father confronted the mother of the boy. The mother of the boy asked her son to deny the act. So the man now came to us and we put him through the process of writing what happened before we moved in. We went to CPS and got the boy arrested, brought him to CPS. He kept denying. We took him to state CID. By the following morning, he opened up. By this time, the girl has spent about a month in the hospital. She underwent a surgical procedure, major surgical procedure that cost about almost 600,000 naira. So we made the mother of the boy to pay the entire amount. Then we've handled cases of child battering, various cases of child battering. It's common. Then cases of defilement too, which people call rape. which is rape actually, because
Rape.
any sexual act with a minor is rape, whether the minor gives his or her consent or not, is regarded as rape under the child rights law domesticated here already in Anambra State. In fact, Anambra State was the first state to domesticate that law in Nigeria, the first. So, under that law, any sexual act with a minor 18 years and below, is regarded as rape and attracts a life imprisonment under Section 31 of that child rights law. So we've been up and doing, and we are commoners, plebeians. We do not have anybody behind us. We contribute our resources.
So how do you get to know about cases? Do you have people?
Yeah, people report to us.
They come to report
yes,
to you?
we have our jingles on radios where we display our numbers. So once people have such cases, they call us on phone and we go and intervene. Mostly is interventionist approach, reactionary approach, because it has already happened. So we go to intervene.
Okay, just like you have mentioned, rape, sexual molestation, and then some of these children, they have been victims of ritual killings and all that.
Yes.
And then we still have peer influences. All those things put together, what does it do to the psyche of children? Now, people that have been used for rituals, of course, they are no more. But people that are still alive, they've been molested, they've been raped, they've been tortured and subjected to some of this demeaning tendencies. So how does it, because you've been handling cases,
yes,
and I know that you interact with those children. So what does it do to their psyche, the kind of impact or effect that it will have on them?
Unfortunately, we have what I can call vitriolic cycle. Once a child is abused, molested, either through battering or sexual abuse, most likely such a child will grow up to become an abuser, himself or herself. It's a vitriolic cycle. Most psychological defects we have today are as a result of child abuse. You can see some kids that are nymphomaniac. You can see many of them. We have some we have interacted with during our course of advocacy. And when you talk with them, you begin to see the root of their nymphomania. They were abused. One was abused when she was 9 years old. The other one was abused when she was 6 years old. You see, what we can do as humans is to try to curb this menace. Trying to eliminate it entirely may be very difficult. We are only trying as human beings to see how we can curb it, how we can nip it in the bud to a minimal level. But stopping it entirely is going to be very difficult.
Very difficult.
From my experience over the past 3 years. Because most people you see today are no more human beings. Most people today are beastly in nature. When you interact with them, you begin to understand. Most parents do not know what is happening. We went to a church at Ukwoji. We were invited by a group of women. And I told them, once in a while, go to any club here in Oka, sit one side and watch your children. And you will see what is happening in the society. We are faced by a terrible situation that people do not even know about.
Well, of course, now we'll be looking of how to reduce this, because just like you said, it's very difficult to eliminate it entirely, but we're talking about reduction. Now,
yes,
what do you even have to say about some of the, because we've had cases in schools where some teachers actually molest
Of course.
the students,
Yes.
the pupils, let me not use the student, pupils for primary school, you see teachers, the male teachers, molesting them and harassing them sexually. So a school should be a place where you mold a child. Apart from acquiring education, then you mold the character of the child. But when this is happening in school, what then are we expecting from teachers? What then are we expecting the entire society to do? So how do we also tackle that one in schools?
It's the same outreach and advocacy. See here, we have tons of laws, legislations on protecting the child, right from when the United Nations started, 1945 till date. It's one thing to have legislations, laws. It's another thing to have the political will
To implement the law?
to implement the laws. Now, what I have come to acknowledge is the power of outreach and advocacies to public places, to schools, to churches. These things are going to be of great help in stopping child abuse, in stopping violence against children, any form of violence, instead of depending solely on our laws. You go to schools and talk to the teachers, tell them instances of what happened in social school, of how a pupil was molested by a teacher. Then you expose the teachers to be vigilant in looking after the relationship between the pupils, the students, and their teachers. Very, very important. You come to understand that most child abuse cases, violence against children, are born out of negligence, not necessarily out of the fact that those teachers and children do not understand or know what these things are. Negligence is a major factor in enthroning child abuse in schools, in churches. It happens everywhere, in marketplaces, every public place. The child is exposed to.
All right, still to let you know that you can also be part of this program this morning. The number, is displayed on your screen, and we are talking about stopping aggression against children during time of conflict. We've explored so much. We've talked about the reason why we have a lot of children that are being molested and being treated or maltreated in so many ways. Some of them are being even maltreated by their own parents.
By their own parents, yeah.
Some are maltreated by their siblings, by their
Yes.
friends, by their peers. And then some things that they exhibit, some of those characters that they exhibit are what we see on the what they watch on the internet. And
Exactly.
now it still boils down to parents being vigilant enough, just like our guest rightly said this morning, that parents need to be vigilant enough, and then teachers also to actually know what their children are doing. Now I'm talking about peer influence. We know that there are so many people that we are brought up in a very good way. Now the foundation at home, it's very solid. That you serve as a parent, you know that you've done a great job. But then what about when they go to school and mix up with some other people that came from anyhow background, you know, that didn't even get any training. And then the next thing you hear is that they are being influenced or lured to start behaving in a certain way. Now, peer influence is another major thing that has been, affecting our children, our youths of nowadays. Especially when you see a lot of people, they don't have parents that smoke, they don't have parents that drink, but you see them drinking, you see them smoking, and they will still hide it.
Yes.
Like when they come home, they will be that innocent boy or girl at home, but when they go out, you see them going wild. Now, another problem is how do we arrest that peer influence? I mean, is it that parents should start talking to their children about the kind of friends that they keep, and then the children being reasonable enough or knowledgeable enough to know that this is, my mom or my family said this is black, it has to be black. It's not going to be white because my friend said that it should be white.
The issue of peer group pressure cannot be underestimated in influencing the behaviors of children. How do you curb it? It has to start with parents giving their children the right education. The right education does not mean formal education they acquire in schools. The right education starts from the home, starts from when the child becomes conscious of life. Starting from 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. You start teaching him or her the realities of this life. That's the only way to curb it. By the time the boy child, the girl child grows up to an adolescent age, he or she must have had whatever he would see from you, not from the friends.
And you know another problem we have in our society, you're telling a child that this is wrong,
Yes.
lying is wrong,
Yes.
but the child will see you lying.
I'm coming to that.
Okay, go ahead.
So when you start teaching, you as a parent, are you living what you are teaching? That's another thing. Because most children generally live by what they see, not by what they hear. We must live above board as parents in order to positively influence our children. Otherwise, there is a huge danger looming. Chukwuemeka Ike of blessed memory wrote a book, Our Children Are Coming. Indeed, our children are coming. He saw it years back. What is happening today, he saw it years back. Our children are coming, unless we do something drastic to stop what is looming large over the society.
And to think that these children no longer even have respect for their elders again.
Exactly, yes.
There's so many things. When you go out there, you see how they talk to elders, how they talk to their parents and all that. Okay, still
even the way they look at you. The way they...
Okay. All right, still talking about stopping aggression against children during times of conflict. That's our topic this morning. Now, let's not just limit it to Nigeria now, because when you look at what is happening in the war-torn areas in African countries, you see a lot of children being forced to even carry arms and all that. You see a lot of children, child soldiers. You see a lot of children being malnourished because no food, nothing to eat and all that. So in essence, how do we stop all this? Because that is what we are heading to, you know, stopping aggression against children. Because whether we like it or not, whenever there is war, wherever there is conflict, children suffer the most, because most times they can't even help themselves. They don't know what to do. They don't even know their left and right. And imagine a situation, because I watched a video when this Ukrainian and Russian war started. Imagine a situation where you're separated from your parents. You don't even know, because it's your parents that will tell you, okay, this is time for you to eat, this is time for you to do this, and then you're separated from your parents. You are left alone with nobody to guide you, nobody to give you food, nobody to cater for you, nobody to guide you. What will you turn out to be at the end of the day?
Children are the most vulnerable of the society. They are innocent. You touched it. During the Biafran War, one of the weapons of war used against Biafra was starvation. Out of the 2 million people that were starved, 3/4 of them were children. 3/4 of them were children. Thank God that the Roman Catholic Church, through Caritas International and the Red Cross, came in and evacuated many of those children to Gabon, to some other places. Otherwise, they could have died too. Those children over there lived to adulthood, some 8 by now. So, it's a universal problem. A boy, mystically speaking, a boy can be likened to the sun. A girl can be likened to the earth. Now, In religion, in Christianity, they said that the earth is about 6,000 years.
Yes.
Science said that earth is about billions of years. The sun, same. Now imagine the majesty of the sun in its infancy. Imagine the beauty of the earth in her infancy, being violently emasculated. What could have been the fate of earth today? What could have been the fate of the sun today? Will we still be experiencing the sun in its majesty today? Will we still be seeing the fecundity of the earth today as it is? This is the same thing with our children. Once they are violently done with as children, something terrible has taken place, and they can never be full adults anymore.
Okay, now the point is that even where we have wars and conflicts, that's foundation like yours, and we also have Red Cross societies to step in and see how they can salvage those children there. Okay, just as we're rounding up, your word of advice to people listening to us this morning, because everyone should be involved in this fight.
Yes, once discipline is bereft of love, it becomes an abuse. Once you exercise love from discipline, it becomes an abuse. We will continue disciplining our children within the confines of love. We cannot stop like the West that has stopped disciplining their children. We cannot be them. We must remain authentic Africans that we are. But we must do everything within the ambits of love in order to raise wholesome human beings, other than the myriad of beasts that we have today in our society. Once again, I advise parents to take one day just to go to a club, sit down one side and watch your children and see what they have become. Drug addicts, delinquents.
You keep mentioning clubs.
Yes.
Is that where all those things happen?
When you go there, you see things that are unimaginable. That these children under 18, 15, 16 do. I begin to wonder, are these ones from homes? Do they have parents that look after them and that looked after them as child?
All right. You see that this thing is not just what one person can handle.
Yes.
We all need to put our hands together to see how we can salvage the situation. We cannot eliminate it entirely, but we can actually reduce it to the barest minimum. So all hands needs to be on deck: the teachers, the parents, the churches, traditional rulers. In fact, every member of the society, we need to save our children. We are talking about the future of tomorrow. We're talking about the people that will take over from us. If we keep treating these people violently, if we keep maltreating them or changing their psyche, making them to be hardened, what then do we expect of our society in years to come? Oh, well, we want to say a very big thank you to you for joining us this morning. Kinsley Obi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it on the show this morning. Thank you so much for being part of the show. My name is Chidima Oranwa. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Bye, I want to TV. It's any one weekend. I say, after all, mommy may tell me. But sometimes it's a young order. Doctor, one order. Because one or immediately do to oh, nobody generally aka. I don't do nen and not on do not, especially do ne. How am I to a bunyan, what I can have Yankee age, and what time I is a year, if you jail.
If your children have erred in a way or the other, draw him or her close. That's what we call parental advice. Chidi, this thing you did is wrong. I wouldn't want you to do it next time. This is how you draw them closer than beating them. If you notice that a friend's daughter or a son is on the road hawking for one thing or the other, and you saw that person, you can assuade the other person. Your support financially can go a long way. It mustn't be the parents of that child. You understand? As a family, as a relative, as a friend, you could also invest into that person's life.
We know the country, it's not so favorable economically, but I also want to advise that we should take care of these children. We should understand that they are the parents' responsibilities. The children are not responsible to the parents. They ought to be catered for and made provisions for. So it's really abusing the children, sending them on the streets for them to hawk. It's really uncalled for. You are really exposing them to lots of dangers. Now the child could be raped. The child could be involved in accidents. Things like that. The parents should map out other strategies to really correcting a child. You could also punish the child, withdraw something from the child, not always hitting the child, because the child is not an animal. Over time, the child gets used to being beaten. That's the worst my mother can do. She will flog me, and that's really not nice.
By teaching them the word of God, advising them, counseling them, then occasionally you flog them. We should start arresting those kids so that their parents will come out and pay fine. And the heavy fine for that matter, so that next time they will not.
Ọbụghị mgbe ọbụla nwatakịrị mere ihe ka ị ga-eti nwatakịrị ahụ ihe. O nwere nke eji okwu ọnụ wee correct ya. And o nwekwara na ka ị ga-etibie ife ahụ. Ọ na-atụzi gị ụjọ. O nwere ihe medo n'ụlọ ma ngwarụ maka na ọ gwaghị igbu onye.